Good afternoon, students. Welcome to Lattice Theory Live lecture. Last lecture, we have seen some properties of finite distributive lattice. In this lecture, we continue to see some more properties of finite distributive lattice. Then we move on to even infinite distributive lattice. Okay. So now, if you see this yesterday's lecture, what we have shown is that this is the result. We shown that L is a finite distributive lattice, then L is isomorphic to H of J of L. Okay, and we have noticed that this H of P is distributive. That means this A intersection B is this, and A join B is this. Right? So we will define now. So let's go here. So we'll start with the definition. So we start with a definition. We say that you take a subset A of P of X, which is power set. So that means you take X, then you collect power set, and you take any subset of that. Means it is again a collection of sets. Is said to be ring of sets. Ring of sets if we will call it this something like script. Okay, so just to we will use the notation script. Okay, if whenever A comma B belongs to script A, then A union B, okay, and A intersection B, these both should belong to script, right? So what is the definition of ring of sets? So it is a subset containing some sets, then that is said to be ring of sets if it is closed with respect to union and intersection. Is definition clear? Hello? So this says that, so this ring, usually in our ring theory also we might have said with respect to two operations, it should be closed. So here those two operations are union and intersection. Okay. So this is called ring of sets. So any collection of that one is said to be ring of sets if given two elements, the union and intersection should be there. Right. Now if we go back to this HP, whatever we have seen, so if we quickly recall here, this H of P, where P is any poset, then H of P is actually an example of ring of set. Why it is? Because how the operations are defined there, the operations are nothing but union and intersection. Is this clear? As if A comma B belongs to H of P, that means if A and B are hereditary subsets of P, then A union B and A intersection B are, you can prove that they are hereditary, and hence A union B and A intersection B, they actually belongs to H of P. Okay, right? Fine. So if P is a poset, then H of P is a ring of sets, right? So if you see the yesterday result, what it says is that, so that yesterday result we can write it as, so rewriting that yesterday's result. What is yesterday's result says that if L is a finite distributive lattice, then L is isomorphic to H of J of L. So what we have used that statement is that L is isomorphic to H of J of L. But because you are now H of any P is ring of sets, so we can write this statement as every finite distributive lattice is isomorphic to ring of sets. Okay, because our h of j of l is a ring of sets. So therefore, what we have proved yesterday is that every finite distributive lattice is actually isomorphic to ring of sets. In later classes, we will see something called field of sets, and we prove some result related to field of sets. But as of now, any finite distributive lattice is actually isomorphic to some ring of sets, namely h of j of l. Right? Now we'll see some results based on this L isomorphic to h of j of l. So first result is that, so I can call it as a corollary because they all follows to this theorem. In a finite distributive lattice, okay, so first we define something, then we prove it. So we start with another definition. You take L is any lattice, then a representation and A belongs to L. Okay, then A is equal to, you can call it some A1 join A2 join AN is called redundant if and only A is equal to A1 join AI minus 1 join AI plus 1 and so on A for some I. Okay, so first we will try to understand what is this meaning. So some representation, we say that is redundant if and only if we can, for some I, if we can remove that and still A is join of fewer elements. Is this clear? Is definition clear? Huh? That means A is join of some n elements. If at all, by removing one element at least, still join is equal to A. Then we say that the representation is redundant representation. Okay. Or if we can add some element, it is still that, then also we can say that it is redundant. Is definition clear? What is meant by redundant? Hmm? What is meant by saying redundant? That after removing even one element, if that join is still same as that, then we say it is, that representation is redundant representation. Right? Now, how we will apply this to our theorem for finite distributive lattice? So I can call it as a simple lemma. In a finite distributive lattice, every element has also, if this is not the case, then we say it is irredundant. Okay, so let me first write that. Otherwise that representation is called, otherwise it is called irredundant. Okay, what is meant by saying otherwise? That means we cannot, if A is equal to A1 join up to AN, but we cannot remove any element from that so that it is still equal to A. That in such case we say that it is irredundant. Is this clear? So redundant means even after removing one element, that join is equal to A. And if we can't do that, then we say it is irredundant. Okay, that means even if you remove one element, that join is not equal to A, then in that case we say it is irredundant. Okay, so what is the result we are going to discuss here is that in a finite distributive lattice, every element has a unique irredundant representation of non-zero irreducible elements, join irreducible elements. So in a finite distributive lattice, every element has unique irredundant This is irredundant. Okay, unique irredundant redundant representation of non-zero joint irreducible elements. Okay, fine. So that means what we want to prove? We want to prove that if our L is finite distributive lattice, then if we take any element in that L, we can able to write A is equal to A1 join A2 join AN in unique way, and that representation is irredundant representation. That means we cannot remove any one element from that. Is this clear? Okay. So let how we will prove that? Let L be finite distributive lattice. Okay, and say A belongs to L and A belongs to L. Then if we go back to yesterday's lecture, let me take that. You can see that we are, while proving this, during the proof, we have observed something, this observation. Can you see this observation? In a finite distribution lattice, for any A belongs to L, A has join of A1, A2, AN, where A is join of finitely many join irreducible elements. Is that clear? So we have already proved that this representation is irredundant representation. How we have proved it? If it is already irreducible, then it is join of one element. If it is not, we can write as like this, and by continuing in this way, we get that this representation is irredundant representation. Is this clear? Hmm? Is that clear or not? Hello? Hello? Am I audible? Okay, so is this clear what I am talking about? So yesterday we have already proved that this A has, then A has irredundant representation, okay, of of joint irreducible elements. So what are all we want to prove? So here I can say proved in previous theorem. Okay. So once you go and check it. So what is remaining to prove is that the remaining thing is we want to prove that it is unique representation. Okay. So usually how we will prove unique representation? Take two representation, show that they are actually equal. Okay. So to prove uniqueness, let A is equal to A1 join A2 join, suppose AN, okay, and A is equal to B1 join B2 up to some BM, are two irredundant representations, irredundant representations of A. Then what we want to show? We want to show that these AIs are same as BIs. Okay, if we show that AIs are same as BIs, then that is the unique representation. Okay, so what is meant by saying irredundant representations? If you see this definition, what is meant by saying irredundant representation? That you cannot remove any further element here whose join is again A. Is the definition clear? Redundant means even after removing some element, still you get join as equal to A. If that is not true, then we say it is irredundant. Right? Are you following or not? Huh? Yes. Now we want to show that how we can show that A1. Okay. So now somehow we want to show that this AI is equal to BS. Of course, N should be equal to M. How we do this? And what are these AIs? These AIs are irredundant representation of joint irreducible elements. So all these AIs and BIs are joint irreducible elements. Okay. So for any I, you take any I. For any I, AI can be written as AI intersection E. Is this clear? For any I from 1 to n, AI can be written as AI intersection E or not? Because AI is less than or equal to A, so therefore AI is same as AI intersection A. Is this step clear? Why AI is equal to AI intersection A? Huh? Yes, because your A is less than or equal to A, so when you meet with, you get this smaller element. Now what we do, in place of this A, we use this B1 join B2 up to Bn. Okay, fine. Why we are doing all these things? By using distributive property, this is nothing but what? This is nothing but join of AI intersection Bj. J is from, this is M, okay, this is M. J is from 1 to, okay. By distributive property, you can write like this, right? Now, using the fact that AIs, each AI is joint irreducible, so since AI is joint irreducible, so what we conclude, what we get, because AI we are able to write as join of some elements, it should be equal to one of them or not, right? So what is the conclusion? What is the conclusion? This AI should be equal to one of this AI intersection Bj. So there exists J such that what should be our conclusion? AI should be equal to AI, yes, AI meet Bj, right? But what is the meaning of saying that AI is equal to AI meet Bj? Meet of these two is equal to AI means which is smaller. AI is less than or equal to Bj. Okay. Okay. Right. Now, if AI is equal to Bj, if at all, we are going to show that actually AI is equal to Bj. It cannot be strictly less than. Suppose if AI is not equal to or so we'll write suppose AI is strictly less than Bj if they are not equal. Okay, then somewhere we should get a contradiction. How we get is that take this Bj. So whatever we did for that, take that Bj, then write Bj is equal to Bj intersection A, and in place of this A, you substitute AIs and you done, right? So what you will get? Then for this Bj, there exists some K such that whatever we have written here, that will be true. So this Bj is equal to, what you will get now? Bj meet some AK. Is this clear why we got? Whatever we did it for here, you write Bj is equal to Bj meet A, okay, and in place of A, you write join of AIs, then take by using distributive property. So there exists some K which is equal because Bj's are also joint irreducible elements, right? Again, this implies what you get here is Bj is less than or equal to AK, right? Are you following? Now take these two. If you observe this one and here, what we will get? This implies, or therefore AI is less than Bj, but Bj is less than or equal to AK, right? That shows that this implies AI is strictly less than AK, right? But if AI is strictly less than AK, then what is join of AI join AK? AI join AK is same as what? AK, right? But that shows that that is the contradiction to irredundant representation or not. That means even after removing AI, you are getting it is equal to A, right? This is a contradiction to irredundant of A. Are you following? Why? Because AI join AK. Since AI join AK is same as AK. So we can drop that actually AI from that representation. It is still equal to A, which is contradiction to the irredundant representation of A. So therefore, that contradiction arises if we assume that AI is strictly less than Bj. So that means hence AI should be equal to Bj, right? So what we have proved? So therefore, we prove that for any I, okay, for any I between 1 less than or equal to n, there exists J, okay, which is between 1 and m, such that what we have proved? Such that AI is equal to Bj. From this, what we will conclude? From this, we can see that m is equal to n, right? This is same as saying that m is equal to n, and this collection, if you take A1, A2, AN, is same as B1, B2, Bn. Because if I take A1, suppose for that A1, I know there is some Bj such that A1 is equal to, say, suppose call it B3. So A1 may be not equal to B1, but A1 may be equal to B3. A2 may be equal to B5. A3 may be equal to B1, and so on. Is this clear? Right? So for every I, there is some J, means first of all M should be equal to, right? And AI is equal to Bj means this set is same as this set. That shows that A has unique irredundant representation. Is that clear? Yes or no? Yes or no? Whether I have any difficulty, you please ask. Whether you follow? Because we started with any I, you can see here. Then for any I, we started with any I. Then we got that there exists some J. Okay, there exists some J such that AI is equal to Bj. We have proved that, right? That means AI should be equal to this, all AI should be equal to A1, A2, AN. This set should be equal to B1, B2, Bm, and of course M should be equal to N, right? Any problem? Hmm? The same thing. You can say that whatever you have repeated here, for any j from 1 to m, there exists some I from 1 to n such that Bj is equal to Ai, right? So it is both ways, right? That's why m is equal to n, and this set is equal to this. So that proves that for a finite distributive lattice, every element actually has a unique irredundant representation of joint irreducible element. Okay. Now let's prove one more result, which is for again finite distributive lattices. So another lemma I can prove is that in a finite distributive lattice, the length of length of every maximal chain is this number of elements of J of L. What is J of L? J of L is non-zero joint irreducible elements. Okay. So in that distributive lattice, finite distributive lattice, how many joint irreducible elements are there? That many, that is the length of any maximal chain. Okay, so suppose assume that there are four non-zero joint irreducible elements in that given distributive lattice. Then you take any maximal chain, the length is 4. Okay, are you following what is this statement? Is statement clear? Statement says that if your distributive lattice is a finite distributive, if your given lattice is finite distributive lattice, then the length of maximal chain actually we are giving in terms of how many irreducible elements we have. Okay, fine. So how we will prove this is that we will try to, so let C be a, let C be a maximal chain in L, where L is a finite distributive lattice. Okay. Now we will try to give, see, whenever in a finite case, if suppose A and B are two sets, two finite sets, if we can show that there is a one-to-one correspondence between A and B, that means there exists a bijective map from A to B, then cardinality of A is same as cardinality of B. Okay, so we use that one here. We'll try to define. Okay, so define map phi from this J of L to C star. Okay, C star means other than zero element, all non-zero elements. Okay, all non-zero elements of that chain, and we'll try to show that this map is bijective. So therefore, number of elements of this is same as number of elements of this because we are in finite case. Okay, but cardinality of C star is just one less than the number of elements of that, and it is nothing but length of this chain. Right. So if we can prove that, define first of all and then show that it is a biject. That is the idea. So how we will define this is phi of, you take any element here. You, for every element here, you say this is, call it MA, where M of A is the smallest element of C, containing this element E. Okay, so try to understand what is M of E. M of E is actually an element of the chain which contains A, and it is the smallest. What is meant by saying smallest? Can somebody tell what is the meaning of this one? If you take any element smaller than that element M of A from that chain, then it does not contain A. Is this clear? Right? What is the M of A here? Because unless you understand M of A, this entire proof depends on M of A. What is M of A says? So try to visualize here. Suppose you have something like C1, you have a chain C1, all this like this. Okay. Then we have, what is our M of A? M of A, if it will be equal to C2 if A is contained here, but A is not contained here. Okay, it is equal to some CK if A is contained in CK, but A is not contained in any less than that. Is this clear? So that means that is the smallest element of C which contains A. Of course, after that every element contains. So what we are saying is that this A is contained here or not, right? And what is the smallest element in that? Is this clear? What is meant by M of A? What is M of A? M of A is the smallest element from the chain which contains A. Oh, any problem so far here? Take any element in J of L and we are mapping that element to M of A. What is our M of A? In that chain, we are taking the smallest element which contains A. What is the guarantee that such element exists? Can somebody tell? What is the guarantee that given any element A will be always contained in this chain? Because it is maximal chain, because it is a maximal chain, we know that the largest element and the smallest element, call it 0 and 1, will be always there in this maximal chain. Otherwise, we can put those elements in that chain, right? So definitely, A1 will be there, maximal element will be there, such that A is less than or equal to 1. Are you following? So M of A always exists. That may be the largest element or even smaller than that element. Are you following what I am saying? Because our C is a maximal chain, because our C is a maximal chain. Okay, what is the first element? This is the first element and this is the last element. Remaining elements will be there. So definitely A is less than or equal to 1 or not? Because 1 is the largest element. So A is less than or equal to 1. So at any cost, definitely this will be there. Below that will also be there. Okay, so we will be taking M of A is the smallest one, right? So at any cost, either it will be 1 or smaller than that one, right? Is this clear? Yes or no? Say it yes or no. So what is our M of A? That is the smallest element in that chain containing A. And what is the existence? How we are saying that this M of A exists? At least 1 will be there, because 1 is the maximal element. So we know that A is less than or equal to 1. So our M of A is always exists, which is less than or equal to that maximal element, right? Some cases it may be there, M of A may be the largest element, or it may be less than or equal to that largest element, right? Okay. Now we will show that this map pi is bisective. How we will show that this pi is bisective? By showing 1 1 and on. So phi is 1 1. So for that, let phi of A is equal to phi of B. We want to show that A is equal to B, but what is phi of A? Is M of A, and this is M of B. Okay, fine. So we will try to understand this with a picture here. We have M of A, which is an element of that chain, and also M of B is an element of C. We are saying these two are equal. So we know that M of A contains A, right? M of A contains A, and M of B, of course, contains B, right? Now take an element X, okay, which is next to that M of A. That means you have a chain, right? We are having a chain, and M of A is an element of that chain. We are taking just next to that. Okay, so let X belongs to C such that this M of A, of course, covers X. That means there is no element between M of A and X. Okay, fine. That means this is like this. Okay, now what can you say about X join A? What can you say about X join A? Then X join A is equal to M of A or not? Then X join A. That means what is the smallest, the least upper bound containing X and A? M of A contains X, right? Also M of A contains A, and this is the smallest element containing A, and this is also smallest element containing X. So therefore X join A is equal to M of A. Is this step clear? Why X join A is equal to M of A? Because how join is defined is supremum of those two elements, right? Are you following? M of A covers X, means M of A contains X, and M of A by definition is the smallest element of C containing A. So therefore M of A is the smallest element containing X as well as A. That means X join A is equal to M of A. Is that step clear? Yes. So same way, because m of A is same as m of B, so I can write x here. So what you can say about x join B is m of B, but m of B is same as, so if I want I can write here m of B which is same as x join B. So therefore what we have shown is that x join A is same as x join B. Is this clear? Okay, fine. Now see, our idea is we want to show that A is equal to B. So we'll show that A is less than or equal to B and B is less than or equal to A. That is the idea. So now I can write by absorption property A as A meet x join A. A is same as A meet x join A by absorption property because x join A is bigger than A. Right? Then in place of x join A, what we can write? X join B we can write? Yes. Right? But then we can apply distributive property, and then what we get here is A meet x join A meet B. This is E. But where A and B are coming from? Phi of A we are talking about. So A is coming from J of L, right? That means A is joint irreducible. So since A is joint irreducible, what we get? We have join of two elements, so it should be equal to one of them. Yes or no? Right? So we get either A is equal to A meet X or A is equal to A meet B. Right? We will see that this cannot happen. That means if at all A is equal to A meet X, then what we get? What is the relation between A and X? Yes, A is less than X, or if you call it A is less than or equal to X, right? Are you following? Right? So, but X is an element of C, right? X is an element of C and X is covered by M of A. So, I can write here this M of A. Are you following? Now, can you see that there is a contradiction to this here? There is a contradiction. What is our M of A? There is a contradiction to M of A. What is that? Where is this X is coming from? This X is coming from C, right? So that is the contradiction here. Why? We are getting a smaller element of the chain C which contains A. But M of A is the smallest element. Is this clear? Yes or no? Which is a contradiction. Why this is a contradiction? Let me repeat again. Our M of A is the smallest element containing that A. So if you take any element from that chain which is smaller than that, it should not contain A, right? So but here we are getting that X contains A, which is a contradiction, right? So therefore A cannot be equal to A meet A. This implies A should be equal to A meet B. That shows that A is less than or equal to B. Is this clear? So same way, similarly, we get B is less than or equal to A. How we get B is less than or equal to A? Here we can start with B is equal to B meet X join B. Then in place of X join B, you write X join A and use B is also join irreducible, and we get those. Are you following? Okay. And hence A is equal to B. So that shows that our map phi is 1 1 1 to 1 map, right? Now what is our next slide? We will show that our phi is onto. So what is meant by saying that phi is onto? Take an element here in C star, non-zero element. Somehow we want to show that there is some A here, phi of A is equal to M of A, right? So let some Y belongs to C star. Okay. Fine. Now we want to say that there is some element A such that phi of A is equal to Y. That means we want to show that M of A is equal to Y, right? But what is our M of A? That is the smallest element of C containing A, right? So we will take some x smaller than that y, right? Okay. So we will write here, and you can call it some z. Okay. Z belongs to C such that this z is the next element of y. Are you following? This is the, that means we are taking the next element of that in that chain. That is our z. Are you following? So if at all we can show that A is in between these two elements, we will find some element A and we will show that A is in between these two elements. Then we are done or not? Then Y is that our M of A. Are you following? So for that reason we are taking, we started with a Y, then you may ask why we are considering this Z. So we are taking this Z which is next left to our Y, and we will try to find an element A which is in between them. Is that clear what we are trying to prove? So what is our idea? Idea is find A, of course, which is in J of L, such that Z is A like this. Okay. If we can find A in this way, then we are done or not? This Y is the smallest element containing A. So therefore, our phi of A will become, this implies in this case, our phi of A will become Y. Is this clear? That means phi of A which is M of A. Yes or no? Whether you are following? That is the reason we have considered Z which is just left side to Y. Okay. How we do this now? Because Z is strictly less than Y, as Z is strictly less than Y, so if you take their R of those things, R of Z is strictly contained in R of Y. Because if you see yesterday proof, we proved that if R of Z is equal to R of Y, then Z is equal to Y. Whether you remember, when we shown that map is 1, 1, R of A is equal to R of B, then we proved that A is equal to B. But here, because Z is strictly smaller than Y, R of Z is strictly contained in R of Y, we get it. Okay. That means this is strictly bigger than this. So let A belongs to R of Y, but not in R of Z. Okay. Are you following? That is, you take any element which is in R of Y but not in R of Z, it will work for you. How it will work? Since A belongs to R of Y, this implies, what can we say about A and Y? A is less than or equal to Y. And of course, A is joint irreducible, right? Also, A is not in R of Z. That means what? It is joint irreducible, but it is not in R of Z, means it is strictly greater than Z or not? Because if at all it is less than or equal to Z, then it is in R of Z, right? So therefore, A is strictly bigger than Z. If we combine this, what you get? Z is less than A and less than or equal to Y, right? And that is what we are supposed to prove it. This implies Y is the smallest element. Y is the smallest element of C containing this A. Is this clear? Why Y is the smallest element of C containing A? Because what is the next element before left to Y is Z, but Z is not containing A, right? Therefore, Y is the smallest element containing A. This implies your Y is equal to M of A, but M of A is nothing but phi r. Right? That shows that phi is onto. Okay. Hence, phi is a bisective map. Right? This implies if phi is a bisective map between two finite sets, then the cardinalities are equal. Okay. That means cardinality of J of L is same as cardinality of C star. Cardinality of J of L is same as cardinality of C star. But what is cardinality of C star? Is cardinality of C minus 1, only 0 element won't be there. but this is nothing but the length of C or not. How length of C is defined? The number of elements in that minus 1. If there are 2 elements in that chain, then length is 1, right? Is this clear? And that is what we want to prove, that length of that maximal chain C is nothing but cardinality of J of A. Is this clear? So therefore, this length of C, which is maximal ideal, maximal chain, is number of elements in that number of joint irreducible element. Of course, 0 we are not considering. See, this J of L means 0 won't be there. We are taking all non-zero joint irreducible elements. Okay. Now for finite case, see, if your lattice is finite, that means only finitely many elements are there, then we can easily think of which elements are join irreducible, which elements are meet irreducible, and so on. But when your lattice is not finite case, dealing with join irreducible elements is not easy. Okay, so we have to find something which is replaceable with join irreducible elements. Okay, that we will see now. Okay, so one remark we can observe here is that what is some relation between join irreducible element and some other thing. So in a lattice L, A is join irreducible. A is join irreducible if and only if this L minus, you take these elements, all are bigger than or equal to A. Okay, is prime ideal. Okay, that means what is our intention? So if you know that A is a joint irreducible element, then we know that there is a prime ideal here. Okay, so whenever you have a prime ideal, then correspondingly you have a joint irreducible element. Right? So in a finite case, we use joint irreducible elements, and in any infinite case, we will try to use prime ideal concept. That is the idea